All right, we're
Because
live. Yeah.
I hate going to YouTube and having it just start playing videos.
I
Because
hate
I
the
browse
whole.
stuff during podcasts and I just don't need the extra audio coming at me
Right.
through my computer. And so
The whole autoplay thing is frustrating though, because the browsers, like, basically the browsers decided to go the completely other direction. They're like, well, clearly no one ever wants to hear audio ever automatically on a video. So I've got, like, I have these websites that I go to regularly, like my gymnastic workout is video, and I have to freaking unmute the videos every time I launch. It's like multiple times per day. Every time I launch a video, I have to unmute it.
Yeah.
So they really need like a whitelist setting.
Yeah, they do. Well, so the autoplay thing, what I do is I tell it on this website, don't disable anything.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
And that's as soon as I changed that setting, that's why I disappeared for a minute, is because it kicked me out
Okay.
and reloaded the page so that it could say, okay, I'm not going to block anything this time. And even then, still, I had my headphones plugged into the headphone jack on my MacBook Pro. That didn't work.
Wow.
I plug it into my microphone. I'm using an ATR 2100 that I just keep in my bag because I can plug it in USB or I can plug it into XLR. It has both on it. And yeah,
Okay.
I plug that in and it's like, oh, I can hear you guys on my headphones now.
There we go.
Thanks,
Nice.
Apple.
Yeah.
I could totally complain about this MacBook Pro. I hate Thunderbolt 3.
Yeah.
No, they don't make anything for it. I actually connected. You won't be able to see it because I'm actually using it because the microphone's plugged into it. But I went and got a dock, and it's literally like 3/4 of an inch by like 3 or 4 inches, and it has 2 USB-C / Thunderbolt 3s on it.
Yeah.
And it plugs in, and it's not quite flush with the laptop, but then it gives me actual USB and actual HDMI and
Yeah.
what else is on here?
Yeah.
You know, an SD card reader, which I had on my old Mac. I mean, come on, guys. I have to go spend $100 after market to get what I want on a MacBook Pro that I spent $3,000 on. Come on!
Rather than improving the actual product, Apple has been spending all of its time iterating on different connectors that you can use.
Removing shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got my newest Apple product. It has no button.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Right.
You
Is
got
that
the iPhone X or the iPhone 10, right? Is it the iPhone 10?
iPhone 10 is what it is. Otherwise, people will yell at you. But
It's the iPhone X10, 5390 million, 52.
I like it so far, though. I've gotten used to the no button, like you just use a gesture to apps and whatnot. It's definitely you know what I like about it too is that it is way smaller. I had a 6S Plus.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's smaller than the Plus, but the same screen resolution. So
well, it is, but it's narrower and taller, so it's not really the same. I think. Am I right about that?
I don't know. Like, I think it's more. I think you've got a little bit of a. Either way, it's like it's effectively the same. Like,
Okay.
I don't notice the difference. Well, if I don't notice the difference, it doesn't matter, right? That's like the
Right.
So
yeah,
it's a
true.
smaller phone with the same, with pretty close to, if not the same resolution.
Mhm.
So they did make it narrower because they added that stupid cutout thing. So you have to change more apps and stuff.
I know that's lame. That is really ugly. I hate that.
Don't
It actually
question
looks-
the Apple. Just don't.
Yeah, I know. The notch. It's so funny. Like to read all the tech blogs the next day, they're like drooling over how amazing only Apple could pull off this notch. Like
It makes sense to me. The notch, like, it looks pretty good. Actually, if the apps implement it, it sucks that the apps have to implement it. They should have like an auto feature where if the app didn't implement it, like it automatically like fills that space or something like that. But it makes sense because you're going to have the front camera and the sensors there, and so you might as well use the little space for the time and the status indicators, right? So that you're maximizing the use of the space. So like it makes sense to me, but. Yeah, I don't
John's
know.
in full-on Stockholm syndrome.
Yeah,
I'm just glad to have something smaller in my pocket that, you know.
Yeah. I got the 8 Plus, and I've been pretty happy with it. It's huge and awkward to use, but I do so much reading that I'm liking it. Have either of you guys used the? So it has the wireless charging. However, I have the 8 Plus does.
I want it now.
So I have the thing is though, I have a wallet on mine. So like I've got my credit cards on the back, and I'm pretty sure I don't want to stick those on top of the. I'm just curious if anyone's had experience with whether or not that will actually like wipe your credit cards.
Oh, it won't
charge
wipe
them
your
up.
credit cards.
It'll charge them up.
Yeah, it'll give you money on it.
That's right.
It's like Bitcoin mining, right? You just like
I have no idea.
Okay, so John, you're saying you don't think it will? You don't think it will?
No, it won't fry your credit card. No,
it's magnetic, but if it'd have to be strong enough to mess up your magnetic tape. And everybody's going to the chip anyway, so in another year or two,
mine's a chip card.
You'll have to use the obnoxious way of paying for stuff instead of the.
I know the chip is like, I don't understand it. I guess so. It's like the worst of both the credit card and the debit card. It takes longer. Usually it doesn't, and it increases.
No.
It dramatically increases the amount of the chance of leaving your credit card at the store. So it's like I don't know.
It's faster, Josh. It's faster. I've had so many people tell me this, and I just look at them like bullshit.
No, it's not. It takes like a full minute to pay. It's ridiculous.
Well, I love when you.
It's supposed to be more secure, right? Because of the way that it does the encryption on the chip. But your PIN number and the way it verifies it, all that information is on the chip. Right. So it's not more secure. It carries the security around with it. It's not more secure. So that's crap.
I love putting it in, and then you sign something. Also, I'm like, you don't understand. Like, I want to argue with this stupid 7-Eleven cashier. Like, no, I don't need to sign something. I use the PIN. I use a secure chip and a PIN number. Like, it doesn't make any sense for me to sign something at this point.
I've got a marketing lesson.
And your elbow, make sure it's you.
What's that?
I've got a marketing lesson from this though. Okay, so I was at Costco, and I go there about once a week, and I usually you pay and you pay, and as soon as the transaction goes through, it goes. Pull the card out, right? So then I go in there a couple weeks ago, and instead of I punch in my PIN card, and it's like. And I'm like, oh, that's much less annoying. And the guy looks at me and rolls his eyes. He's like, yes, it's also much less effective. So, so basically people have been forgetting their cards because they switched to this nice, soft, melodious thing instead of the alarming. It's sort of like pop-ups, right? They're annoying, but they're effective.
It just needs to be Apple Pay or like whatever, payment like everywhere. And then what they need with the phones is a second battery in the phones that's a backup battery. Because see, the problem with relying on your phone, like the whole Uber and the Apple Pay, is that if your phone battery dies, you're basically fucked. Like, what are you going to do, right? So it needs to have, like, all the phones need to have a backup battery that's like emergency, like that has just enough power to activate Apple Pay or Uber, right? Like these are we need to get. This is where we need to go as a society. We need to go here. No more damn credit cards. None of this. Like, it doesn't make any sense, right? Just like we can just pay with our phones, right? I saw a homeless guy the other day playing with his iPhone. So I was like, okay, I think everyone's got an iPhone.
Oh, those underprivileged people. Yeah. Well, in your scenario, I'm just imagining somebody, they get lost in all 20 acres of Costco, right? And they listen to a podcast the whole time, and so they get up to the front, and it's like, oh, my podcast killed my phone. Yeah, exactly. That makes sense.
All right.
Of course, here in New York, I think the card readers just say, "Take your damn card."
So I have to explain why I'm sitting today. So I told Josh I'll have to wait before we can discuss it. But I did. So I did a half marathon like a Disney run on Sunday, and I hit a new PR. So I hit an hour, 51 minutes, and 12 seconds.
That was like last Friday or Saturday, right? I thought I saw it on Facebook.
Yeah, on Saturday. Yep. It was pretty cool. I ran with a Thor hammer. It was kind of a bad choice. It was only like a few pound hammer because it was a Disney superhero run, right? So I ran through Disney, and so I basically, my costume was me with my shirt off with a Thor hammer. And it was only like a 2-pound hammer, but it.
Oh my gosh, that's a lot though. When you're, oh my goodness, when you're running, that's a lot.
By the end of the run, my arms hurt more than my legs. So, and I was whooping it up, like I was like going through the crowd and like getting all the crowds riled up, like swinging my hammer and stuff, right? I was like, I look better than the Thor in the movie, so fuck this. I'm gonna enjoy this moment. So, and then at the finish line, I did the whole like I grabbed the hammer with both hands and I like started sprinting as fast as I could, like the hammer was pulling me. It was great.
Wow.
That's awesome.
I need to get a drone that just follows John around.
But yeah, so I shaved like 2 minutes off my PR, which was
awesome. Good job.
But it was killer. But then we were walking around. Yeah, it was a hammer for sure. We were walking around Disney, and then for the next 2 days, and then Knott's Farm, right? And then I basically like after the half marathon, I basically fell off the wagon. Like I started eating a bunch of junk. Like I kind of justified it because I was carving up for the race and whatnot, and then I had to run the race. But like Tuesday, I think I probably consumed like 10,000 calories on Tuesday at like Knott's Farm.
Nice. And
then so I was like, oh shit, I always do this when I get really close to my goal. So I did like on Wednesday, I basically like did extremely clean, like maybe like 1,000 calories. Right, like something like that. And then I decided to fast yesterday, full day fast. So I haven't eaten since Wednesday. So but then yesterday I had Muay Thai class, and so I did Muay Thai class, fasted, but like our instructor didn't really feel like teaching. So he just kicked our ass instead. So he just like, so we had like 50 burpees. We had like, it was just ridiculous, like just almost all calisthenics, right? Like, after jumping rope for 10 minutes, it was brutal. It was brutal. But then I had to
do that with the Thor hammer.
But then I was like, but then Manny wanted to go for a run. So like I run with him sometimes. And so right after kickboxing, I did a 10-mile run with Manny. So I came back, and I think I was getting sick too. Like everyone in my household got a little bit sick, and so I still have feel like I've got like the cold sweats or whatever. But after that 10-mile run, my legs were so like I had like chills in my legs. It was bad. So I was like, that's why I'm sitting today.
Man. I think what I need to do, it's basically John will never say no to any kind of challenge. So what I need to do is just like reach out to about half a dozen people in the San Diego area and just have them kind of like come up and challenge him successively. Like every hey John, I'm going for a run. Like about every 3 hours.
Yeah.
Hey John, I'm going for a run. And then see if I can get him to like basically kill himself for 24 hours straight.
That's funny that you said that, because when I was running last night, like around mile 8, I was like, oh, I should not be running 10 miles having not eaten for almost 48 hours and having done that Muay Thai class and plus the run from, because when you run a half marathon all out, like it takes some time to recover. So I was like, around mile 8, I turned to Manny and we're running, and I'm like, hey Manny, we can go ahead and just stop at the Starbucks here, which was like maybe like 8.25 miles. And he was like, oh, okay, yeah, we could just stop. We could just stop early. And he didn't even want to run 10 miles. He wanted to run 5 miles, right? So I was like, I picked up, what he was saying. I was like, we're fucking running 10 miles, bitch. Like, what? He's like, no, seriously, yeah, I don't know. We can stop, really. And I was like, no, we're not stopping now. We're running 10 miles.
John is for somebody who's as mentally tough as John. He's surprisingly easy to manipulate into doing things.
I was like, there's no way he's having a story of that time that he ran with John and John called the run early. So yeah, so it was not a good choice. My legs were, but yeah, you're right about that. So
yeah, we'll just come down and do a wheelchair excursion with you tomorrow.
Oh my goodness.
But I did take a weight swing, like from a crazy weight swing. I've never swung this far before. On Wednesday morning, I weighed 238 pounds. This morning I weighed.
That's more than me.
This morning I weighed 221. So in 2 days I went from 238 to 221. Yeah, like 16 was it 16, 17 pounds.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, so there you go. So I think I'm actually back to where I was before the whole fiasco. But I am going to sit down for today.
Nice. We should totally publicly shame you for sitting down. Like that one time that John sat down because, oh my gosh. I'm just kidding.
Chair shaming.
Chair shaming. I love it.
Oh yeah, so Josh, so I was saying too, like the with the Manny thing, we were talking about doing because we've been doing, Chuck, I don't know if we were talking about this last, or Josh was probably talking about last week. I wasn't here, but we've been trying to do affiliate deals, like we did the one with Interview Cake. And so Manny has actually a book series that his site is 2,000 books. Like he's got a YouTube channel and he does book reviews. And so he's got his main product that he sells is a package on mental toughness, on books on mental toughness, like reviews that he's done on books on mental toughness, you know, to get all of the benefit from the books. And so he sells that. So that would be a perfect affiliate deal for us to do, right? Is to basically like sell his package, because, you know, Bulldog, right? Mental toughness. This is like definitely right up our alley. But then he actually had a good idea. He kind of negotiated against himself, because I was like, I was tossing around some ideas. I was like,
that's what happens when you string somebody out for 10 miles.
Exactly. So I was thinking, because Parker at Interview Cake had said, oh, we're going to use some of your copy to modify our stuff. And so I was thinking, like, my initial thought, and we could go either way with this, but my initial thought was to say, oh, well, if we have enough of these affiliate deals where we have huge success, we could essentially like pitch to people, we'll take 100% of the sale, right? When we promote it to our audience, and you'll get copy. Right. So you'll get a sales lift from here on out. Like you're going to get a professional copywriter writing like good copy for you. Right.
Interesting.
But I think Manny actually had a better idea. He said, instead of doing that, charge a royalty on the copy. Basically make it a deal where they can use your copy and then charge a 10% royalty on all of the sales from that point forward that use that copy. And so I think we can totally pitch that, Josh. We have to have some really good, but home runs here.
Yeah.
But if we can go back and we can see how Parker's sales have lifted after using the copy, and I think we can get to, I think we could possibly pitch something like that, and that would be long-term revenue.
Right.
Yeah. That's the one thing is that it would almost have to be a separate project, just because usually the emails are going to be written from your perspective. So I'd have to like go back and kind of unwind some of that and make it work for the other party.
But it's mostly like just like the research that you do, figuring out the pain points and the messaging to talk about, that I think would be valuable. But
it would be interesting it would be interesting. I'd really be interested to try that. That was I had something kind of similar in mind when I was first, like a couple weeks ago, when we were doing the Interview Cake thing, like trying to think of ways that we could take the same copy and go out to other audiences with it. So that would be fun to try.
But either way, I think that's a good product for us to do affiliate with. So
yes. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I don't know if you would have to do all that much. I mean, some of it could just be, our friend John Sonmez instead of this is the time that I.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, you might be able to, but I mean, the relationship with the list is pretty important.
Yeah, that's true. So. Well, and the other thing is anything that you write that kind of tells the story of the product, right? So if you told Parker's story in any of the copy, I mean, that can just stick, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so. I think the first email, especially in that series, would probably work. Pretty much. I'd have to go back and look at it, but I bet you that one would be pretty close because I was pretty much just describing the product in a lot of detail.
Yep. It's funny too. It's funny what works because what I find for me is when I'm doing some of this and I get clicks on all of them and it's different people, and so some of them are clicking on the. There was this time where I had this problem and gee, I wish I had this solution. Right. Yeah. So it's much more story based and I just give them somewhere to go at the end if they identify with my experience. Mm-hmm. And then some of them, it's just the cold, hard, hey, go check out this thing because it has, 90 videos and 200 text files and blah, blah, blah. And it solves this problem. And a lot of people are like, oh, I want that. And then they go check it out. And so, you just get this weird mix of 3 or 4 different types of emails. Yeah. That they all kind of go together, but everybody kind of gets triggered by something different.
Exactly. Well, what you're describing is people at different stages in the buying process, really. So I've found that it's best to start any kind of promotion like this with the blah in your face, here's what we have for sale. Go buy it.
Right. Yeah.
Just come right out in front, and explain it. And then you come back and you hit different angles from the other emails that you're sending where what you're describing, Chuck, where it's more of a story and that's illustrating a pain point. And then, cause you're getting people that first email just makes it super clear what the actual offer is, and then gets anybody who's already in the market for that. And then the follow-up emails get people who are sort of vaguely aware of the problem, mm-hmm. and maybe they don't know there's a solution for it, or they just haven't thought too much about it, but they identify with the story, and it pulls them in at that point.
Right. Yeah. Anyway, it's kind of a fun game to play. What can I do to get this kind of response? Okay, now what can I do to make it better? Because you have the numbers, right, on the click-throughs and opens, and so at least for that stage in your pipeline, it's okay. How many more people can I get with this?
Yeah, I think if we were going to do this, John, I think what I would want to go in and help them set up the whole funnel, basically.
Yeah.
Because
that makes a lot of sense.
Parker, I was talking to Parker, and his biggest problem, his biggest shortcoming in his funnel is that he doesn't really have a good any kind of time limited offer. And I think that was that's super important in why because everything that we've done where it's been an affiliate promotion and we did not have any kind of time limited offer, we made a few sales, but nothing really spectacular. I mean, Pluralsight, for as great a deal as that has been pretty difficult for us to push. We were able to do about, I don't know, less than 100 sales a month for sure. I think it's probably more 50 or less.
Yeah.
And that's for a free trial sign up. So I think we're between 50 and 75 maybe transactions a month, but that's hey, go check this out for free for 10 days.
Right. Yeah.
It's not even paying any money, and we're having a hard time, a relatively hard time doing that. Versus with Parker, you just blew the doors off because it was, they had to make a decision.
Right? Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, I mean, it could be something that we could look at. We're talking about, remember our phases, of a different kind of. This is that whole, we're talking about getting into talking to Hanselman or .NET Rocks and saying, okay, we can build a product for you, and and so this could be kind of an introduction into that. Is if we find
both
good
of them this week.
Oh, did you? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Were you at like a conference there?
Yeah, so it's Microsoft Connect, and it's where they bring in all of their corporate partners and insiders basically. But they have all of their like corporate VPs and technical experts here as well, and so they bring in a whole bunch of podcasters and have us interview them. So,
okay.
I got 4 shows out of it. I'm probably going to line up a few more shows, because they had like Changelog and a handful of other shows that kind of cross over with mine as far as audience goes, and so I'm working on getting them on my show and getting on their show, and hey, let's kind of cross promote a little bit and get your expertise and talk about open source with Changelog and talk about data science with the data science guy, and yeah, just some of that.
Okay.
But yeah, Hanselman was part of the keynote on Wednesday. And the .NET Rocks guys are the guys that actually organize all the podcaster stuff. So,
okay.
So yeah, so I wind up seeing them 2 or 3 times a year. Anyway, you were talking about something else. I didn't mean to derail you.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about at one point, like at some point, going to people like that have big audiences that really are not monetizing their audience, and basically doing a done for you system where we take royalties afterwards, right? Which I think that's something we could definitely do.
Yeah, I could play to that some too. I mean, sometimes it's just, it's tough to figure out exactly how I want to approach it. And if you come to me and you say basically, hey, look, we did this deal on, let's use Interview Cake as an example. We did this deal on Interview Cake. We sold a bunch of blah, 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 blah. And, we think we've got it figured out and we want to try it with you, and we'll take, a 5, 10 or whatever % royalty. I'm looking at it and going, okay, so, I do a few minutes of work giving Josh access to my drip, or he just sends me all the emails so I can copy and paste them in, tells me where to change things or helps me update my, them so that they fit my list. And then, yeah, so I don't have to come up with all of that. And then I'm going to make basically, free money off of it. I mean, it sounds really, 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 really nice to me, but I'm painfully aware that I have this problem in the first place. And so you might have to do a little bit of sales there, just getting people into, oh yeah, okay, I have access to so many people, and I'm not taking advantage of it in the first place.
Right. I think the biggest sell for it is really just like having a metric or a calculator and saying, okay, you have an audience of X number of people. Okay, so you're making, like, you have a mailing list of 100,000 people. Oh, okay, so you must be making $50,000 a month, right? Oh, you're not making $50,000 a month?
Yeah.
Oh, you're making like $4,000 a month? What?
That's super common.
Making at least $50,000 a month, right? Like,
yeah.
I think that's the best sell, because then it's like, oh, really? Like, it's like I'm losing something. Like, I'm not maximizing my asset. And then you can come in and say, well, I can get you to $50,000 a month. That's like easy. So, and would you be willing to give me 20% of that if I get you to $50,000 a month instead of your $4,000 a month or whatever it is? Okay.
Yeah, well, and that's kind of the same thing that I'm looking at with the ad setup that I'm pulling together, right? It's, you have X number of listeners, well, put an ad in your show, you can make X amount of money, and you don't have to do anything else. You just insert the ad when you record it and then insert it.
Yeah.
And, you could be making X dollars every time you release, you have an audience of 10,000 people. Well, let's make you, $500, $600 an episode. You're releasing every week. I mean, that's $2,000 that you're passing over. Or you could put two spots in your show because it's longer. So, that's $4,000 or $5,000. I mean, now we're talking about paying your mortgage, your car payment, and most of your utilities, and probably some of your food.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly. Yeah.
You can go to your boss and say, "F you, I'm a podcaster now." So, yeah.
F you, I'm a podcaster now.
I need to make that shirt.
I do. I really do.
Chuck, you're wearing your Trust the Process shirt, aren't you?
All right.
Yeah. Yes, I am.
Me too. So,
Ah,
under my sweatshirt.
I was actually wearing mine yesterday. So
Josh is ashamed of his. He had to put on the sweatshirt over it.
Yeah.
we started selling shirts again, Josh. Like maybe
Yeah.
like one every 2 days or so.
I know.
So,
I don't know. I don't know.
I
what the
think
deal is.
it's either that we reduce the price or that we fix the store that was broken.
Yeah, I didn't do anything with the store, so
Oh, the coupon thing is still broken. Yeah. Okay.
yeah.
But
Well, we had somebody use the coupon yesterday, or today. The
They
last
saw
one that came
this-
through, yeah.
They
probably
saw a gorgeous bald guy walking around New York City in a Trust the Process shirt. That's
There
what it
you
was.
go. That's what it-
that could be it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we're
That's
hiring
really, really
people.
interesting. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, so we're hiring people to ghostwrite from the YouTube videos. I did an email to the list asking for writers and did a YouTube video, and I think we got something like over 50 applications.
Oh, wow.
So I got to sort through all that and narrow it down and figure out who to hire to do this.
Mhm.
So it'll be interesting if we can get this going, though. If we can find a good ghostwriter, then that will, we can start pumping out Kindle books, which will be awesome.
Yeah. Basically,
That'd
the
be
idea is
cool.
to take all the simple programmer, like the YouTube videos, and do
Yeah.
topically, and then convert them into a book.
Mm. Interesting. That'd be cool.
Yeah, if we can start getting like one Kindle book a week, like get to that cadence, that would be pretty awesome because I think we can really kill it. And plus, it'll also give us more of a mainstream reach, like some tentacles into mainstream.
Mhm.
Plus, we can make audio versions of the books and start selling those as well. So, and then we hired a new full-time employee too. Mitch Tabian will be starting in December. So he will be like doing basically like kind of project management, kind of like whatever kind of he'll be operating kind of at the same level as Josh and I, but taking on whatever tasks, projects that we have, that opportunities essentially that we haven't been able to tackle.
Nice. Yeah, I'm probably going to hire somebody when I get home. But of course, I have this deal where I hire a bunch of people and I fire a bunch of people. So.
Yes.
We haven't gone through a major right sizing yet, so
Yeah.
Right.
Yep. That's awesome, and it's nice to just kind of feel like, okay, we're going to take advantage of some more of the opportunities that we have. Because that's where some of the pain is that I feel is that, you know what, I have all these opportunities, and I used to chase them all, but now I'm like, man, I could really do well in this area, but I don't have time with the podcasts and the other one or two, major things that I do. So it'd be nice to be able to hit them, but it's not going to happen yet.
Yeah, that's why we wanted to really get like someone full-time that's going to work on just our projects, so that we can make sure that we're getting those, like get some of those, low-hanging fruit that we haven't been able to do,
right.
Get that taken care of in tandem. So I think it'll end up being good. So
good deal. Well, congrats on that. That sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Now, does he have a programming background or?
Yeah. Yeah. He's a programmer, so he can handle a lot of the technical stuff too. Yeah.
So he understands context and stuff in your content.
Exactly. Yep.
That's great.
Yeah, so we're basically going to be four full times now in Simple Programmer. So
yeah, but you used his name, so now we have to castigate you publicly.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, over here, so this week I've spent most of the week in New York. So I flew out on Tuesday and I've been here Wednesday, Thursday. I'll be here today and part of tomorrow. I didn't publicize very well that I'm going to be here, so I don't know how many people are actually going to show up. But I told people that I'd meet folks in the lobby at 7:00. We go find some food. So if we don't have anybody show up, then whatever. Then I'll just go see a movie or something. Anyway, it's been fun. And yeah, we interviewed a bunch of people about stuff related to Visual Studio Code. And
so is this for JavaScript Jabber mainly?
Yeah. Okay. They bring me out to represent JavaScript Jabber. They usually bring AJ out too, but AJ got married a couple of weeks ago, and the poor guy didn't want to leave his new wife yet. So
hey, AJ got married.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool. I'm going to take some credit for that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because we had a conversation about the ladies. Like, remember after I was on the last podcast episode and I was giving him some tips.
Yeah.
So I saw on Facebook that he hooked up with this girl, and then there we go. So I'm gonna take credit for that.
Yeah. Apparently his sister talked him into using a dating app. And she had the same experience because he was like, I'm not going to find the person I'm going to marry on a dating app. But she had some friend or something that kind of pushed her into doing the same thing, and somehow they connected, and that was, anyway, so.
Yep, I definitely talked to him about that. So.
But anyway, at this point, we got the episodes we recorded. I realized that I missed one small thing on the sponsorship sign up. So I need to fix that. And then I'm probably going to wind up doing sponsorship outreach most of the day. I'm probably going to go down to like One World Trade Center or something and go check out the observatory at the top of the building or something. But I don't think I'm going to do too much tourist stuff because I really want to make some progress on this. And I'm in a place where I don't have a lot of distractions because I'm not at home.
Right.
And so, I'm really looking forward to that. I'm also starting to do outreach and kind of set the bar at like 10 weeks. I want to know what we're recording for the next 10 weeks. And so, I've been using Pipedrive to manage a lot of that, and I'm really, really happy with it.
Yeah.
And it also works really nicely for the sponsorship follow-up stuff. It doesn't automate it as much as I would like, but it hooks into Zapier, so I'm kind of tempted to just, play with it that way. Just set up some automation so that, it sets that, anyway. So it sets the follow-up to happen a week or two after I do a follow-up. But I've also got some companies that are really interested in sponsoring, and I kind of want to try them out on this new system and say, you know what, if you want to do a call, here's how you get in touch with me, and then, but if you already know what you want, then just go sign up and just see how that works. So anyway, it's mostly working. I changed the way that the placements work a little bit, and so they tie directly to a creative now. But if a sponsor signs up, I need to be able to just mark it as reserved for that sponsor until they put in a creative or until I do. So anyway, but so that's kind of where I've been working on things these days, is just focused on that. And then I listed a listing in the local classifieds to see if I'm going to hire somebody that'll work for me for 10 or 20 hours a week at 10 to 12 bucks an hour. And I've also decided that I'm totally okay with getting some college kid that just wants to work remotely part-time.
Yeah.
And then if they go away in a few years, which they probably will, they'll graduate and go try and find a real job. That's fine. But in the meantime, they can help me get systems around a lot of this stuff. They can help me, just do a lot of the work that I'm either not good at or don't want to do. And then, I can basically work with them to automate their job away with code or other online systems. And they don't feel threatened by that because, they're not planning on sticking around anyway.
Right.
And then, which was the big issue with Bubba. Go to hell if you have a problem with me saying her name. And at the same time, then I can give them other more valuable things to work on, because we've automated all of the low value, easily automated stuff that I can pay a computer pennies to work on every week. So, but mostly it's just been focused on the podcast and the interviews this week, and then just getting our pipeline full for recording. So we'll see how that goes. But things are looking pretty darn good. We're talking to DHH next month on Ruby Rogues, and I'm excited about that.
Oh, cool. Okay.
And then, you know, we did a couple of episodes on some technologies that people are really excited about. And then we've also got some basic stuff like strings and encodings coming up. And so we're getting a good mix on Ruby Rogues. And then the JavaScript Jabber stuff, we're really hitting a good mix there too. So at this point, just getting all that together. And then I want to find one more panelist for each of those two shows. And then I'm probably going to go on Adventures in Angular and cause some weeping, wailing, and gnashing of teeth as I purge, because I think we have 6 or 7 people listed on the panel, and we have 2 or 3 show up every week. And I'm just going to go in and say, look, you know, if you're not going to come on a regular basis, you know, I'm going to find people who can, and yeah, just make things work from there. So.
This job you're not being paid for, you're fucking fired from. So.
Well, basically, I'm just going to be like, look, are you interested? Because if you are, you need to start showing up. And I get that, you know, some of it we kind of went through a conference season, and so, you know, that happens. But anyway, and then the last thing that I'm going to do is I think I'm also going to reach out to some of the conferences out there that speak to the topics that I need to cover in my shows.
Yeah.
And I talked to Richard Campbell, and I was like, I really want to do this kind of thing that we're doing here, except at RubyConf and November and, you know, NGConf and stuff like that. And he's like, yeah. He's like, well, here's the sales pitch for the conference. He's like, this is how we pitched it to Microsoft for Microsoft Build. And I was like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. And so I'm hoping to line all that up. And if I can get in and just get a little bit of space, that'll work. And then they also said, you know, on some of these, like if we're talking about like VMworld or AWS or Amazon reInvent or something like that, you know, I just have to get in with the right corporate person to make it happen. But some of these other ones that are more independent, like NG Atlanta or you know, RubyConf or something like that, where there's not a corporation behind it. They said, yeah, if you can't get the organizers to go for it, they're like, talk to the headline sponsor, because they're already spending $50,000 on the conference. And so you give them the same pitch, which is essentially it extends the experience that these people have with the conference, raises the profile of it, reaches people that the conference isn't reaching. And, you know, we'll give you a big shout out, you know, so you're going to get a shout out to 9,000 people or however big the audience is, you know, over the course of 2 months or 3 months, depending on how many of these we record.
Right.
You know, so are you willing to drop another, you know, $1,000 or $2,000 to, you know, fly me out, and then, you know, help me find some space somewhere at the conference to record. And so, you know, if we can make that work, that would be great. Because the other thing is it helps me raise the profile of the show, and it helps them raise the profile of the conference.
If you can get this working, if you can get this going, I would definitely charge a lot more than that too. Later.
I think so too, but you know,
initially,
just for the initial thing, just to see where things are.
Cover your costs. You're getting content. You're also going to get you'll be in touch with potential sponsors.
Yeah.
So, but
yeah, it pays off for me in a lot of ways. I ran into David Sparks at VMworld, and he does this for a living, where he takes his video camera and, you know, records a whole bunch of content for the show, and then, you know, he puts their branding on it. And yeah, he gets paid a ton of money to do that. And so, yeah, if I can do that in the open source community, I don't know that I'll get paid what he gets paid, because these are big companies that are paying him to show up. But, you know, depending on the size of the conference and who the sponsors are, I should be able to get, you know, I could probably talk them into a $10,000 deal where I go to the conference, you know, pocket $6,000 and turn out some great content for them.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, that's another one of those where.
And it's content. That's what I do anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Right,
It fits perfectly with what you're doing.
Yeah.
Leaning into what you're doing more. So.
Yeah. So yeah, but yeah, that's kind of where things are for me. The only other thing that I'm dealing with at this point is I've been kind of frustrated because I don't think I don't feel like I've made a ton of progress this year, but in the business, but I feel like I've grown a bunch this year and I know what I need to do. And so next year I think is going to really take off, but I'm frustrated.
We don't know anything about that, John, do we? Yeah, I definitely hear you. Like we're kind of, we're sort of like, we did a ton of work this year that is just starting to pay off. Like the book, we basically spent 2/3 of the year launching the book, and we're still not done because we got the audio book, and we're just now starting to see the benefit of that. And like in the meantime, kind of the product side of things has stagnated a little bit, and so yeah, it's I'm definitely with you on that one.
Yep. But planning next year, so.
But it's like you get this slow growth, like it's a cumulative effect. And then eventually like you have this little breakthrough and then you hit a new level and then you kind of stay at that level. And that's just how it works. This is how life works. So, but you know, you just have to keep on churning it out. And I mean, you've got a lot of things that are growing, right? That it's like you don't realize the growth. It's like you know, things like your podcast subscribership, like those things. Like it doesn't like from month to month, it doesn't seem to make much of a difference, but that all like adds up over time. So
absolutely. I need to take a break for just a second.
Okay.
We'll be right back.
All right.
Talk amongst yourselves. Oh, don't put the mic there.
Yeah, we should be getting the audio back pretty soon here for that.
Yeah.
Hopefully it'll be good. I'm surprised they didn't have me re-record more like chapters or sections, but
how much was it? Just like a few snippets?
Yeah, just a few snippets. It only took me like an hour to do. So
oh wow, nice.
If even. So we'll see. Once we launch that, that's going to be huge. I think we're going to have. I mean, already the book revenue is pretty good because I think we're hitting like 5 to 7K a month, like pretty consistently on this. I think that's what it's settling down at. So if once we get the audio out, I think we'll be in the 10K range for sure. So
yeah, it seems like we've kind of pulled soft skills up a little bit too, if you've noticed.
Yeah,
I think that. So for everybody listening, we're experimenting with the pricing on the book, on the Kindle version of the book right now. So we had it was priced at $9.99. We've priced it down to $4.99 for a week.
Yeah.
And our sales more than doubled. So we actually were making more money at $4.99 than at $9.99. Even though our revenue slice was a lot smaller, basically cut it in half. And now I'm testing $2.99. And it's looking like that will make less money, possibly slightly less money, but we're again selling almost. It's like maybe 150% of what we were selling at $4.99. So Amazon is just extremely price sensitive. So yeah, this is as low as we're going to go because any lower than this, and we won't be making the 70% commission anymore, and that's a ridiculous hit. But
yeah, we'll have to see. Where I think $4.99 is probably going to be optimal pricing.
Yeah, I'm curious whether there's $6.99. I feel like $3.99 is no man's land. Like, I feel like that's going to get us almost nothing. I feel like that will be very, very close to $4.99, and then $6.99 will be interesting just because that's like enough. That's $3 less than $9.99.
Yeah.
But it's enough. It's like enough that it's less than most Kindle books.
Right. Exactly.
And I think that kind of makes it for me, when I'm buying Kindle books, if I see the price down at $6.99, it's like an instant buy. If it's $9.99, I hesitate.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So.
And it's weird with the print book. You can't even tell. Like it's like.
I know. No freaking idea. So it's Amazon jacked the price on us up to $44.99.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure that we're only selling we're going to average like 3 a day at that price. So like the last but yesterday we sold 8 copies. The day before we sold 1.
Yeah.
So I don't even know. We'll need to let it run for a while.
It's weird with print book pricing because some people just want print books and they're used to paying $30 to $50 for a print book in the technical space, so they don't care. Like, it doesn't matter. So it doesn't seem to be as price sensitive. Except though, I think if we got it down low enough, I think if we could get the price below $20, I think we would sell a bunch of copies. But really, in order to make it profitable to be below $20, we have to figure out something other than CreateSpace, or we have to reduce the size of the book, or we have to do something that would make it so that we could actually sell, at that lower price.
You're talking about the physical book, right?
Yeah. Yeah, we have it's hilarious, Chuck. We have no idea. So Amazon raised the price on us to $44.99. So we set the cover price to $49.99, thinking we'd be all smart and outsmart them and trick them into selling it at a loss. Which
oh wow.
They don't
work for a while.
Yeah, it worked for a little while, and then they were like, wait a second. So they for a while they had it priced at, it was priced at $49.99. We were making $19 per copy, and they were selling it at $27. So you do the math on that. It doesn't work. Doesn't work out for very long. And now they've raised the price all the way up to $44.99. We're still not even sure what our sales are, because they're like, yesterday we had 8 sales. The day before we had 1. Today, last time I checked, we had 0. So I don't know. Yeah, it's like it seems to be about the same, like $34, like $35 to $45 seems to be pretty much the same. I feel like we were doing better at $27. We were selling like 10 copies a day. But yeah, it's really the print book has been really weird. So I have a theory though that the Kindle version, so we priced the Kindle version at the moment is down to $2.99.
Oh wow.
And we're selling about 40 copies a day.
Oh wow.
Which at $9.99 we were selling 10 copies a day.
Oh, 10 to 15, I'd say, yeah.
Well, no, it was 10. I averaged it out, and it was 10.87.
Yeah.
So,
right.
Yeah. So to the pricing the Kindle, but I have a theory that to some extent that the Kindle book helps sell the print book, because people will buy both. Like, people will buy the Kindle version and then they'll read it, and then they want a reference copy, so they buy the print version.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
We'll have to also get some real solid numbers on people that have come in through book purchase, on what their lifetime value is.
Yeah.
In order to know, because if we can be sure that every single person that buys the Kindle version, for example, or buys a copy of the book is worth at least $3 to us, then it makes. I think.
Give me a second. I'm looking that up right now. But yeah, I'm pretty sure. I think I've looked at it, and I think we're already up to $2 per person. So let's see here. So yeah, tags. This will take me just a second here.
Now that's $2 in other stuff after they've bought the book.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Yep. Yeah. So
and this is just people who actually get the digital toolkit, right?
Right. Exactly. So we can't. There's only. We can only trace things. Depending on what they sign up for.
Right. Okay.
Well, we can. Well, no. I mean, what we can do is we can take the digital toolkit downloads, like the email signups from digital toolkit, and we can per day versus the sales of the book per day. Now, it's like a slightly lagging indicator, but that'll tell us, like, if we sold, for example, if we sell 40 Kindle books on average, and we're getting 20 email signups, then 50% of people are signing up that are buying, and so then we can take that number and divide that by 2, right? And then that's what the actual, like, per book sale, the additional value that they're worth.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, and right now it is. It would actually be interesting to go back and correlate that with the book sales, because so I've seen it go up. I watch it every day, and I've seen it go up. Yesterday we got 20 signups, but the thing is though, there's the trouble is we're in the Kindle Unlimited program, so we get a lot of people that are reading for free on that, and we don't know how many. That's the problem.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
once
you
we
get page counts there, right?
Yeah, exactly.
we'll have to experiment with pulling out of the Kindle Unlimited program and seeing. And then the other
Right.
thing we want to do with that is when we pull out the Kindle Unlimited program, we want to use like BookBaby to distribute to the other stores as well.
Mm-hmm.
But essentially we should be able to figure out, I mean, we could get a decent idea of the numbers, right? And then based on that, we can, when we have all our data from our pricing, we can run the calculations without, like, just on straight book revenue, and then also based on additional revenue that we expect per book book sale, and then we can see which makes the most sense. That would lean towards lower pricing, right? So in that case,
I'm pretty sure that $2 is about right now as far as email signups, or the value of per email sign up from the book. So I'm actually pulling it up right now. So the other thing is we're going to do a big Cyber Monday thing. So the average customer value, so we have 1,200, let's see here, we have 1,252 signups from the book so far. And $9,030 in sales that we've tracked to people that have gotten the digital toolkit, and $52 customer lifetime value. So let's do that real quick. 90. Yeah. $7.31 each.
For each.
Nice.
$7.31 each.
Wait, I might be
for each digital.
For each sign up on average.
Oh yeah, you're right, because if there's 1,200 and then there's $9,000 in sales. Wow. So so if you took that $7.31 and you said that 1 out of 5 people
who buy the book get that.
Right.
You said $7.
So that is like basically the argument is maximum, like get maximum reach.
Right.
Lowest possible price, maximum reach, because we're making it.
Each book sale might be worth an additional $1.50 to us then, or more, $1.50 to $2.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So So that would make the $2.99 price point actually more profitable than the $4.99.
Yep.
So.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, once the more numbers we get, the more solid we'll know on this. And plus, after you said, after we do the Cyber Monday sale, we'll see.
Yeah, because we're gonna. Yeah. That should push a bunch of people that have never bought anything to buy some stuff. So.
Yep.
Super cool. Oh.
Yeah, and then the audiobook will throw another variable into the equation, but
when does that come out?
I don't know. We'll see. We got it over to editing right now, so once probably we get that December, back,
probably December.
Yeah,
I think so.
Nice.
And so we'll be selling the audio on Audible, but we have a publisher partner, Dreamscape, which is going to be publishing the physical copies of the audio, so CDs. And other distribution channels. So we have no idea how well that'll do, but I mean, if it's like a couple grand a month, that'd be pretty sweet.
Yeah, it's interesting. Everybody has different preferences for how they want it. So yeah,
it's gonna be a lot of audio CD stuff.
Oh yeah, it'll be, oh my gosh, it'll be like what, like 20, 25 or something?
Something like that, yeah.
20, it's going to be at least 18, I would say.
Yeah.
So 70 minutes, yeah. It's like 23 hours of audio or something like that, so.
Unless they use like MP3 audios or something, but I bet
John reads the dictionary. Looking forward to it. Nice.
All right. Shall we wrap it up? Do our thoughts?
Yeah.
Sure. So I have a thought, and my thought basically is that, and I kind of mentioned it earlier with just the frustration over not seeing a lot of progress in the business, but feeling like there's a lot of progress in myself. And it just, to me, it's you know, it gives me more hope than real discouragement. Like, I am discouraged about the lack of progress in some areas, but I realize that the changes to me and the changes to the way that I think about things are things that are going to pay off in bigger ways over the next year. And so, you know, you can't always measure progress in the things that you wanted to get done. But as long as you're seeing that progress and you can see where they're going to pay off later on, you know, don't get too discouraged. I mean, don't give up on doing better in those areas either. But, you know, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're failing. It may just mean that you're, you know, you're a little bit slow in the areas you thought you wanted, while you learn how to succeed in those areas in the future. And so, I don't know if that makes any sense, but that's kind of where I'm looking at things and going, you know what, I didn't really fail. I just didn't know how much I had to learn in order to win here.
Right. You're rebuilding your golf swing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead, Josh. I'll let you.
So I was really, earlier this week, I think it was Tuesday, I'm working on, I was working on the emails, trying to dig into the emails for Cyber Monday. And so my personality type, like I'm on the Myers-Briggs, I'm an INTJ. And one of the things that we hate so much is having to like basically redo work or, you know, explain the same thing over again. And so I was like really struggling. Like, I do not want to write another series of emails selling the same product here. And just like every thinking time I have this problem where I feel like I don't know, like I'm kind of, I guess it was kind of writer's block. I was just kind of like completely demotivated, had like no desire to work on it at all. And really didn't like tried to work on it for about a half a day and didn't really make any progress. And then I had Rodrigo, I had an idea, and I decided that I wanted to get I needed to try to be like immersing myself more in the content that John's creating. So because it's really hard for me to keep up with it. He does like 3 videos a day, and YouTube's not a good interface for that kind of thing. Like it's not, I can't. So for me, I want stuff to come to me by email. And so I figured out that I could set up, we get 3 transcripts a week made, just of some of the videos that John's doing. So I set that up. So Rodrigo's just going to drop them into a folder, and Zapier will email them to me, and then I'll read them. And then I'm also going to try to listen to the podcast, you know, every day or a few times a week. So I'm just kind of in that mode more. And it turned out that one of the videos that I got the transcript for this week was about learning, and John was talking about the skydiver analogy, where like the skydiving school, where they don't, when they take you, like when you take a skydiving class, they don't like give you a Dropbox folder full of videos and say, hey, go read these at your own pace. You know, when you feel comfortable with all this material, you come to us.
And don't splat.
And we'll schedule your jump then. No, that's not what they do. They put you in a classroom for 2 hours. You sit there and you pay attention to every word, because you know in 2 hours they're going to be shoving you out of a plane, and you learn everything you know, and they shove you out of the plane and you don't die. So it was like, I got, just reading that, I got really excited about it, and I was able to, I pulled out like 3 or 4 different themes from that email or from that video, and I was able to do the whole email sequence. And it was fun. I got really excited about it. So for me, every time I have trouble writing anything, it comes back to, I need input. I need inputs. Either I need to be researching.
That's really good.
You know, researching the audience, or, you know, I need to re-immerse myself in the product itself. Like, you know, so writer's block is basically whenever you're trying to sit there and think of an idea, you're screwed. The creativity. Eugene Schwartz from who wrote Breakthrough Advertising said creativity is connectivity. You're connecting ideas in new ways. That's creativity. It's not sitting there and dreaming up something brand new. And if you're sitting there trying to dream up something brand new, you're going to spin your wheels. So just back off, go do something, go read something, go, browse some forums, do something where you're getting some creative input, and the ideas will start firing.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Let me see. I think mine for this week would be, I was thinking about this, like, because I was having a bit of a hard day yesterday. And so I was thinking about this concept of, like, when you're having a hard day, make it harder. Like, that's when you need to push hard, right? I think because the default behavior is like, oh, I'm tired. I don't feel very good. I need some rest. So I'm just going to kind of relax today and recover. But instead, you should go the other direction and say, I'm going to fucking kick my ass today because I don't feel good, or because I'm not feeling motivated, right? And the reason why is because it's kind of twofold. Is one, it'll definitely get you out of the funk, right? There's nothing like busting ass. And I think there's multiple reasons why it'll get you out of the funk. Probably a lot has to do with building up momentum, and also just not having the time to think, like, because you're taking action. So that'll happen. But also the other effect is that that's when you grow the most, is like when you're at a low point and you work your ass off. That's where, like, when you make things even harder on yourself, that's where the most growth happens. And so if you really want to, like, so you can see these down times, these when you're kind of exhausted or you don't feel like doing anything, as an opportunity to really, like, ratchet it up and to really accelerate your growth, because you've sort of got to beat down the force field first before you can attack the ship, right? And so, like, when your force field is weakened, that's when it's time to, like, go in and like really actually toughen up, and that's when you're actually going to build the thicker skin. That's when you're actually going to build the calluses, right? But when you're at your full power and you throw hard work or stuff at it, it only dampens the force field. Like, it doesn't get down to the core. So I've been trying to look at, like, these trying to go against the grain, right? Because and what also happens is, I found, is that, like, when you're, like, lazy and you feel tired or whatever and exhausted and you're not motivated, and you say, well, what I need to do is take a little bit of a break. It only makes it worse. It only compounds it, right? I think it's very similar to what I've been re-listening to Stephen Pressfield's The War of Art, but he talks about, like, resistance, right? And he talks about this idea that it's like, when he defines resistance, and he talks about that it sort of, you go into this downward spiral. And so I think a lot of it is just from avoiding doing the work. And so even though it's very counterintuitive, like, when you're in a down period, you need to, like, just hit it hard. And this is kind of what I did yesterday. Like, it sort of got me out of the funk, because yesterday I was like, I don't really feel like doing anything. And then I was like, okay, I fasted the whole day. Like, I had no motivation to do any of the stuff, but I fasted the whole day, did my Muay Thai class, and then ran 10 miles. And it was like, by the time I had finished doing that, I felt like shit, but I also felt awesome, because, I had really reached down to the bottom of the barrel and scraped there and found my depth. And that's, that, I think that's a good growth experience. So.
Yeah, it's interesting, because a lot of people that I know, and I've been in this position myself, they'll be like, well, sometimes you just do need to stop and slow down and rest and recuperate. But most successful people I know, they plan that in, right?
Exactly. Yep.
And so, when they're kind of at the bottom of their barrel, so to speak, they know what they can do to push on and pep themselves up and get things together and get things going, and then that's the kind of thing that you're talking about. And then they plan their break for the next day or whenever it is that they need to take it. And that way, it's like, I'm going to get crap done now. And they don't succumb to that, and then they force or push their growth, and then they can recuperate at a later, more appropriate time.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, I mean, when you're working out, like, if you've got a schedule, you periodize it so that you have planned times in there where you back off, but you don't just back off someday because you're not really feeling.
I really don't feel like pushing this bar up again.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. Yep. That's basically it. So, yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to kind of point out, you know, there is a balance, but you know, John's telling you that, you know, the balance isn't what you think it is.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. You want to actually, it's almost like the advice that they give on writers, right? On like writing, like stopping the writing when you're on the high note, like when you want to keep writing, and then so the next day you pick it up from that high point versus when you're exhausted and you are out of words, right? And then you know you lose the momentum the next day. So it's the same thing as it's like when you got to hit it hard. Like you take a break, yes, but you take a break on the high point, not when you're exhausted. If you take a break when you're exhausted, you're only going to be more exhausted, right? Everyone thinks that this is not true, but then when you're exhausted, so you take a break, and then what happens 3 days later when you come back from the break? You feel even more exhausted. Like you're like, why this doesn't make sense? So you've got to, you know, you got to do the opposite of what you think is what's right. All right, guys.
All right. Well, I just basically wrote an email from that. So.
Okay. There we go.
So.
Yeah. When you're going through hell, keep on going.
That's right. Yep. All right, guys.
Awesome.
We'll
Alrighty.
see you next week.
See ya.
Yep.